X Life is heading to a model. Microsoft has laid out plans to launch a new cross-platform model SDK file that will let game devs add XLive functionality to games on iOS and Android, as reported by The Verge. That means mobile devs will be able to imbue their games with features like achievements, gamer score, friend lists, clubs, hero stats, and some family settings. It's not an all-or-nothing deal, either. Developers will be able to pick and choose which XLive features they want to integrate, with the entire process being enabled through a single sign into a Microsoft account. The XLive Mobile SDK is part of Microsoft's recently announced GameStack initiative, which aims to bring together all of the company's game development platforms, tools, and services such as Azure, Playfab, DirectX, Visual Studio, XLive, App Center, and Havoc into a robust cloud-based ecosystem that any game developer can use. Speaking about the new initiative at a media briefing this week, Microsoft's cloud gaming chief Karim Chaudhry said the tech giant has ambitions of uniting players around the world, irrespective of their platform of choice. We believe so strongly in community, and XLive really being at the heart of our gaming community, he commented. If you watch what we have done, especially with Minecraft, over the past few years, we have taken XLive to as many platforms as Minecraft is on as possible, really uniting all those communities together with a consistent, singular experience for those gamers. It's a sentiment that seems to be propelling Microsoft forward at breakneck speed. After all, it's only been a few months since it lifted the lid on Project Cloud, a work-in-progress streaming solution that will apparently let users access games on any device of their choosing. The company's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, has also added fuel to the fire. He recently claimed Microsoft wants to bring its Game Pass subscription service, which grants users access to major first-party titles like Halo, Gears of War, and Forza to any device that somebody wants to play on. It's chatter that has people envisioning a future without software exclusives, a world where you will be able to boot up as Master Chief on the Switch and take in the panoramic views of Forza Horizon on the PlayStation 4. Chaudhry remained tight-lipped when asked about the prospects of seeing XLive on rival consoles, but reiterated Microsoft's desire to keep building bridges. Our goal is to reunite the 2 billion gamers of the world, and we are big fans of our XLive community, but we do not have any specific announcements as it relates to Switch today. He added, if you have watched us for the past few years, we have taken a very inclusive approach. Phil Spencer has been very proactive on issues like cross-play, cross-progression, and uniting gamer networks, and we are willing to partner with the industry as much as we possibly can. The Epic Games Store has altered its refund policy, so users can return games they have played for less than 2 hours within 14 days of purchase. It's a change that means the fledgling marketplace, which only launched in December last year, now offers exactly the same refund options as competitor Steam. Epic's Director of Publishing Strategy, Sergey Galyankin, who some of you might know as Steam Spy, announced the policy change on Twitter, explaining users seeking a refund will have to apply through player support while the team works on a self-service solution. He also revealed the storefront now supports regional prices for 30 different countries, with more to be added in the future. The Epic Games Store has been making waves since being unveiled last year, and has been praised by games developers for offering a universal 88% revenue share although it only featured a handful of titles at launch, might have been added in the weeks since. And Epic claimed a big scale-up last week. Their new iOS software revealed it would only be launching the PC version of The Division to Play and the Epic Store, making it one of the first big-name releases to skip Steam in favor of the nascent marketplace. The Razer Game Store is closing down after just 10 months, and will cease operations on February 28th. The digital storefront was opened by Razer in April 2018, and sold keys for existing platforms like Steam and Play. The marketplace also offered exclusive Razer discounts and Razer Silver rewards that could be redeemed against other games and peripherals. Razer did not specify exactly why it has decided to turn its back on the storefront, simply explaining the decision is part of its wider realignment plans. All games purchased through the Razer Game Store will still work after the closure, while pre-orders will also be fulfilled. What's more, all Razer Silver earned through Game Store purchases will still be valid, and can be used to redeem rewards after the store has shut down. You can find out more about the closure by checking out the Razer Game Store FAQ. Newsbrief. Square Enix's i2D Switch role-playing game Octopath Traveler has moved a grand total of 1.5 million units, counting shipments and digital sales, since its release last July, according to a Japanese announcement spouted by Gamasutra. It's worth mentioning that shipped does not necessarily reflect the number of copies sold, but even still the milestone represents a significant amount of interest in the visually distinct RPG, especially for a Switch-exclusive title, in a relatively short amount of time. Square Enix has hinted that a second Octopath is in development for consoles, but in the meantime the company has also announced that it will be launching a smartphone prequel to Octopath Traveler this year, at least in Japan. A translation of a tweet shared to the game's official Twitter account notes that a closed demo for that game, Octopath Traveler, Champions of the Continent, will take place ahead of its full launch. Disclaimer: this article is not an introduction to photogrammetry, but rather a case study of scanning the Patra treasury and the challenges that came with. These are my personal process and tools that I wanted to share with you. If you are interested in diving in depth into the topic of photogrammetry, then I would recommend you check out one of my previous articles here. During my trip to Jordan, I reached out to Princess Sumaya University for Technology to organize a visit and give my experience in scanning archaeological sites in Lebanon. I was asked to give a presentation on the topic. While I can easily give an old presentation that students have probably not seen before, and it would work out fine, I wanted to do better. Jordan is an archaeological-rich country, home of the city of Petra, and I thought it would be interesting if I scanned the iconic treasury and used that in my presentation, instead of using an old project. El Council, the treasury of Petra featured in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. That sounded like a cool idea, except for a few things. I was informed of the topic a week before my trip, which meant that I did not have much time to prepare the presentation. I was attending the Jordan 8th Gaming Summit, which meant I had even less time to prepare the presentation. I was traveling to Amman, and Petra was 3 to 4 hours away by car in the middle of nowhere. Therefore, it would take me all day to get to Petra and come back. It takes a lot of time to process a scan, and I do not have a pocket server on me. I did not have access to a drone, and the treasury is a little bit taller than me. Therefore, it will be challenging to get those top view shots. In short, preparing scanning, and presenting in 3 days. Challenge accepted. The organizers of the gaming summit had scheduled a trip to Petrofar, the speakers of the event, which took care of the transportation issue for me. And since I will be visiting with other fellow speakers, I found it to be a great opportunity to both scan and network. To process the scan, I decided to use reality capture, since it can run on a laptop with a limited amount of RAM, as long as it has an NVIDIA graphics card. Additionally, it can handle a lot of photos while remaining relatively fast. This tool made perfect sense for this specific case. However, for your particular project, you still need to do research to see which is the best solution that suits you. The presentation consisted of a few steps: the content to explain slides, the scan, and a demo scene inside of Unreal. Luckily, I was not starting from scratch.